Hey guys, this is Andrew for PokerSavvy Plus. This is part 3 of my members hand history review session. For this part of the series, I'm going to go through some hands which were sent to me by my students. I'm going to keep these hands anonymous just because they weren't sent to me for this particular purpose. They were sent to me just for review purposes, so I don't really have the author's permission or the player's permission to use these ones publicly, so therefore I'm going to keep them anonymous. The reason that I'm using these hands is because I went through them and I really just noticed that there are a lot of common themes that run through them, a lot of common themes that run through these hands, namely getting yourself into really tricky situations that don't have to be tricky. Either you can just hand read a little bit better and figure out what's going on in the hand a little bit better, or you can do something on earlier streets which would make the hand easier to play and more profitable to play as well. But I felt like these particular hands just were quite a good showcase of really common situations that people tend to get themselves into unnecessarily, in my opinion. So I'm not going to do a huge introduction here. I'm just going to get straight into the hands. But yeah, just so you know, these hands were sent in by my students. And I'm going to review a couple of those today. Okay, so this first hand is the Ace King. As I always do, I'm just going to play straight through the hand, and then we'll review it at the end. So we have Ace King. Actually, we'll go back to pre-flop because I wasn't pre-flop there. We're playing at 25, no limit. Under the gun raises. We put in a re-raise. I think it's pot-sized. He calls. Flop comes King, Queen, 4. We bet 375. He calls, and then on the turn, we end up betting 975 and obviously calling it off when he makes it 1950. So yeah, a pretty interesting situation there on the turn before we bet, just because obviously it's a spot where our hand goes from pretty strong to sort of fairly marginal, and it's a bit difficult to understand exactly what to do. So I'm going to go back to the beginning, and what I'm hopefully going to illustrate in this hand is that you can actually do a lot of things differently from the beginning of the hand to make the hand just flow much better through from pre-flop to river, and you will completely avoid the turn spot altogether. So okay, so first decision we have, obviously this guy raises UTG. The reads that I was supplied are that this guy is a 1916 player, relatively straightforward tag. Okay, so with that in mind, when it's folded to us, although a re-raise is fine, because obviously Ace King is, a very strong hand, and we're certainly ahead of his UTG raising range. Just bear in mind that it's also okay to call, because the thing about a re-raise is that if he does go ahead and come back over the top, we aren't going to really be like super happy about getting it all in, because he's a solid player, he's raised UTG, and we're repping pretty serious strength with our re-raise. I'm assuming that 25 million, we probably don't have any metagame or any kind of aggressive history with our opponents.